Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where every day I do try and beam your ears to a different part of the world and try inject a much needed sprinkle of positivity into your day with an inspiring story in tech. Because although there is a lot of doom and gloom out there at the moment, I figure that mainstream media has got all that covered. So today, I want to take you on a virtual trip to Ukraine, where Alex Lutskiy, CEO at a company called Innovecs, is waiting to speak with us today. And Innovecs is a global and dynamic software development company, but saying that it doesn't really do them justice, because they create digital solutions powered by innovative technologies and incorporate emerging tech trends to help businesses transform and grow. But they also have an incredibly cool story too, where they consider themselves to be building a community rather than a company. And let me tell you, this fresh approach is working wonders, because they've grown from 3 people to over 800 employees. And they've also achieved over 65% year-on-year growth for the last 3 years in a row. So buckle up and hold on tight, because I'm going to beam your ears all the way to Kiev in Ukraine so we can speak with Alex about the work that they're doing, an incredible story behind it too. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, thank you for inviting. So my name is Alex Lutskiy. I'm the founder and CEO of Innovecs. Innovecs is the global software development company. In the simple words, we provide software engineering services to product and enterprise clients around the world, mainly focusing on 5 specific business domains, which are supply chain and logistics, fintech, edtech, retail, healthcare, and we also have a separate business unit which provide gaming entertainment software engineering services.
And I'm always fascinated on this podcast when I speak to a tech lead or someone such as yourself that's a CEO of a global software development company, is the story behind that. So what put you on this path, and what problems did you set out to solve and do differently from all the other companies in that space?
Sure. Yeah, there's definitely always some story right behind, right, how people start. But I think for me, before I moved to Ukraine to build this company, I spent almost 20 years working in US across different companies over there, right? And I had about 10 years of experience basically working with similar companies in the same space. So I had a lot of experience, good and bad, by the way, right? Working with such companies. Then basically in 2010, I was invited to move to Ukraine for 1 year by one of the biggest outsourcing companies in the world. And that's how I ended up to be in Ukraine. And being there for like a year, I kind of also picked up the new experience, not being on the client side, not being, let's say, on a service delivery side, to see how that works here. Because usually when we work with different companies, especially with a different culture set, we have certain expectation, but that's not always matching, right? Working with companies, let's say, outside of the United States, for example. So that's kind of, basically how I ended up to be in Ukraine, and I worked for the company for about like a year. And it's not like I planned it, I just thought that I can do something different. I think mainly, and not to create a lot of revolution in this particular space, but mainly cover some of the gaps that I believe that industry can offer back to the client. And mainly for that was like a culture fit. Right, because a lot of times when you look at the failures between companies and the service providers, sometimes it's not about how we write the code, how we build the software. Most of the time, it's about communication and the culture fit, and sometimes the culture unfit create a lot of failures. Right? So we definitely focus a lot on making the culture fit with the client. The second thing, the transparency, not to be black box for the client, so the client knows exactly what we do and how we do and who does it. Definitely expertise, because we're working across different clients, right, across different industry. We definitely build up a lot of expertise that we need to share with our clients, right? So they can leverage that also from us. And the last thing, of course, which is very important, is the commitment to get things done. Because a lot of times, from my experience, when working with service provider companies, sometimes you don't feel that the service provider put the same commitment if you do, for example, that in-house. So the goal for us was, let's say, to really build up the same culture fit and really make the client feel that we are committed to get things done, even let's say we're not part of that particular company. So that kind of what was my path and the problem we're trying to solve, and this is how we continue to grow.
And I always say on this podcast that technology works best when it brings people together. And when looking at your story, what stands out for me is the human-to-human approach in B2B business that you seem to take, which is, I've got to say, it's so refreshing to hear, especially when talking about tech and software development. So can you tell me a little bit more about your belief that emotions and relationship are exactly what drives the business?
That's a very good question. I think I always say, right, when I talk to my people, there's things that today you can buy. For example, if you're missing certain expertise, you can go and buy it. If you're missing a certain solution, you can go and buy it. I think what you cannot buy, that's where you have to actually need to invest, right? And invest into people, because you cannot buy their loyalty and engagement. You can only invest to the corporate culture and the values that will make people to get together, and by making them to get together, right? So that's how you can drive the business success. So we definitely invest a lot into the people spirit. We believe, especially for us, let's say our people are the main asset of our business. And I personally believe, let's say, that the emotions and relationship comes first. I always say, let's say, that the first thing we have to do, we have to build the emotions of our brand, relationship with our clients or our employees. And then actually our services comes in second, because without building the emotions, today especially, without building the relationship, it's very difficult to go right and provide, services. So we definitely believe in those emotional relationships. And in our company, we have three major keywords that kind of describe the corporate culture of the company. It's innovate, inspire, care. When we say innovate, we believe also that every single person that joined the company, even say cleaning lady, right, that also part of the company, they have to be innovative, right? Because today, if you look at it, like, let's say 10 years back, you might come up with innovation today and then live with that for 10 years. In today's world, let's say that you have to be innovative every 3 months, because the market is so fast. There's so much competition. Things are changing. Now, if we take, let's say, COVID-19, right, they changed a lot of business models. They changed basically a lot of mindset of people, how they're going to be approaching businesses today. So I think for us, let's say, people need to be innovated, and innovated not once in 10 years. They have to bring innovations every 3 months. When we say about inspire, maybe that goes back again to emotions and relationships. We believe, let's say, that to be successful, you have to be inspired by yourself, and then you have to inspire the other people around you. And of course, care, right? We care about our employees and we care about our clients, right? That's kind of those three words kind of describe our corporate culture, and it describes the values, right, that we bring to our people and to our clients.
Just love your mindset there and how it's so much bigger than just software development. And can you also tell me a little bit more about how you invest in an educational initiative and a hub for events? Because that's something that's very important to you too, isn't it?
I always call Innovecs not even like a company, more like a community, because unfortunately the perception, right, of the service company usually it's more boring, right, when you compare it to a product company. Product company is always more like kind of bright, more sexy, right? Service company is always more like the perception, right, of being boring. So I think what we're trying to build here, we try to build a community, right? Because look, if you look at any developer, right, it doesn't matter what company he's going to work for, but if he only does coding, that's what he does 8 hours a day, in 12, 24 months, right, he's going to get bored regardless of what kind of product he's going to build. So people today are also looking for emotions. They're looking for potential opportunity to do something outside of your primary goals. Let's say if you're a software developer, right, coding is great, but you can do coding in any company, right? You can freelance, you can work for any company and do the same, right? I think what we're trying to build here, and for example, we have events, right? The events allow us to really get a lot of people together, especially right now, let's say with the online stuff going crazy, right? So we conducting a lot of online international events, which allow us to get people around the world but it's also allow our people, right, to be part of the panel discussion, for example, or to be listeners of those panel discussion. And something, the same comes to the educational, right? We do a lot of education because I think that's kind of one of our also major service to our clients. It allows us to scale up our talent much faster. And of course, let's say we look at the education side here, it's also allow our employees to participate. If you feel that you want to coach other people, if you feel that you want to teach other people, right, we allow you to do that as well. So basically, our main goal, as I said, in a company, not to be like a company where you have certain roles and responsibility. That's what you do 8 hours a day. We're trying to build a community where you can do a lot of different things for you, for your client, for the company, right? And that's how you're going to grow with the company. And that's what the company makes you to be engaged in the long term.
And for the cynics listening who are thinking, yeah, all this is great, incredibly cool, but you do need to make money too. For those people, I want to highlight your incredible success, because Innovecs is one of the fastest growing US companies, according to the Inc. 500 in 2017, 18 and 19. And the company is also recognized in the 2020 Global Outsourcing 100 list by IAOP, and one of the youngest on the list, while also achieving a 65% year-on-year growth for the last 3 years. I mean, when you look back at everything you've achieved here, it must make you incredibly proud.
It definitely goes back to, as we just described everything above, right? It all comes back to the to my team, right, and the spirit of the team, right, and the hard work they put every day to make this company growing so fast. And we, again, I think it's also one of our kind of culture set of the company. We believe, let's say, if a company is growing, right, as you grow, right, every year, right, you come across new challenges, which excite most of the people that work for us. As you grow, right, you meet new people, right, on a different scale of the business. You meet new problems on a different scale of the business. You meet different clients on a different scale of the business. So we definitely believe, let's say, that growing, right, for any company makes not only the business more successful or make more money, it actually makes people to grow with you and feel proud of what they do right for this company.
And there is a lot of talk at the moment around a tech Cold War, and some nations are becoming much more insular and building up almost virtual worlds. But I am an eternal optimist. So I've got to ask, I mean, do you think that a virtual world without borders is actually changing the entrepreneurial mindset, and collectively we're beginning to think bigger? Is that what you think, or where do you stand on this?
I think it changed a long time ago, right? I think in the tech world today, right, let's say, I don't see there's any borders, except that when you travel, right, you kind of feel, when you go to a customer, you feel there's a border. But I think in a software development world, right, I don't think there's any borders. I think people right now, the tech world becomes so global. I think that's what also one of the advantage for business, right, to scale up their product or services, because you're not attached to any particular, let's say, region, right, or any particular office or any particular city, right? So you kind of basically can leverage anyone everywhere in the world to build your product and scale up your business as fast as you can.
For people listening that are hearing about Innovecs for the first time, what kind of problems are people coming to you at Innovecs and asking for your help with at the moment? And are there any kind of trends in the types of requests that are coming your way?
Our clients come to us, I would say, for two major reasons. One reason, right, which is the major, right, to hire us to help them to build their software. If I bring like a very good example, right, so we're not a product company. We don't design products, but we have very deep expertise how to manufacture, how to engineer the product. That's where our clients come to us, and this is where we help them to build their software. And second thing, I think, which is also very important, right, because today in that competition, time to market is a big thing that every single company should consider, because you might have a great idea, but that will take too long to achieve, you're going to lose. So basically with us, right, besides that we know how to build software, we'll help our clients to save time to get to the market, to get into the market as fast as they can and be not the last, but be the first. So that's kind of, I would say, two major, and I would say two other major reasons why clients will come to Innovecs.
And for startup founders that could be listening anywhere in the world, do you have any tips or tricks for them, especially about growing from 3 people to an 800 plus employees and achieving 65% year-on-year growth for 3 years in a row? Because that's going to be incredibly attractive to a lot of startup founders out there. Are there any tips that you could share on that?
There's not like any pill, right, that you can take and make you successful. Unfortunately, maybe there is one, right, but it's prohibited.
Yeah.
I would say that definitely you have to be passionate of what you do. You have to wake up every single morning and be passionate of what you do, because that's how you drive your success. That's number one. Second thing is definitely it's a day-to-day hard work. There's nothing today is easy that you can just do things. It's a hard work from day to day, working with your team to make things happen. Definitely, I believe it's very important. It's a transparent partnership with your client, because as we're going back to the previous question, let's say the relationship, the partnership with your client, especially in the service business, I would say that is the major thing that you should focus on to make your business growing and be successful.
Fantastic advice. And although we are in a period of uncertainty at the moment, is there anything that excites you or makes you hopeful about the road ahead?
You know what? I think there's a lot of discussion right now, right, with this COVID-19. And if you look at any business always going through problems or challenges, regardless if you have COVID-19 or you don't, right? Because that's part of the life cycle of any business. So we deal with challenges every day, and we have to solve them. But I think today, if you look at this particular situation, I believe it's always good opportunity for doing some disruptive things. I think this is definitely a great opportunity. Let's say if you can come up right now with something disruptive, you can definitely go and gain some competitive advantage. So, for example, with companies that you would never done before. So I believe, let's say that any crisis, it's a great opportunity to change your mind. It's an opportunity to get out of the box. It's an opportunity to be disruptive and win certain market share, right, that maybe you would not ever done without that particular crisis. So definitely, I believe for us, it's a great opportunity, and I believe for other companies. For example, if you look at the retail or any other businesses that got very impacted, it's a good opportunity for them right now to change their mindset, maybe move from offline to online. That's what they're doing right now. So I believe that is definitely opportunity, maybe not for everyone, but definitely it's opportunity for people for businesses that are quick and agile and disruptive to make certain changes to their business.
I think that's a beautiful moment to end on. But before I do let you go, can you just remind everyone listening where they can find you guys online, and equally contact your team if they want to carry on that conversation we started today?
People can find us on anywhere, on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, but mainly I think the best way to go is to go to our website, which is the www.innovecs.com. And that site basically has all the information about us, how we do, how we grow. And definitely I'm happy to, if anyone wants to approach me personally, I'm available on Facebook, LinkedIn, and happy to speak and provide any advices, right, as much as I can.
Excellent. Well, I'll have those links to the show notes so people can find you nice and easily. But there's so much I love about your story. But in particular, I love the line that you used earlier in our conversation now about you're building more of a community than a company, and the success that you've achieved by that having that alternative approach and that fresh mindset is phenomenal. So I wish you the best of luck for the future. But more than anything, a big thank you for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
I just love Alex's story there, his ethos and mindset and everything that they're doing, because I think this human-to-human approach in B2B business is so important and refreshing to hear. Because ultimately, emotions and relationships is exactly what drives business. So to hear that it's not just software development, and that they're also investing in educational initiatives and hubs for events, is incredibly cool. And you all know that I hate the phrase the new normal, because I'm quite happy with the old normal, thank you very much. But I do love how they're building this virtual wall without borders. So I cannot thank Alex enough for sharing how entrepreneurs' mindsets are changing and how that is a great thing. But as always, over to you. Email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, tweet me at Neil C. Hughes, or pop by my website, techblogwriter.co.uk. There's a few things on there at the moment. We do have 1,300 other podcast episodes and how you can work with me, etc. But I've also appeared on a couple of other podcasts as well. So if you want to hear what it's like for me on the other end of the microphone, which feels a little bit weird, but I'll put links to that on the blog section as well. But enough from me. We're out of time already, so I'll return again tomorrow. Thanks for listening, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.